Alright, tonight I have probably one of the coolest videos that I've ever put together here. And if you're a fan of art of any kind, comic books, pop culture, this is going to be the video that you want to watch. And I have shown some of this on my channel very infrequently, but I have over the past. If you haven't seen those videos, you probably won't be able to find them. You just missed out on it. But I basically just had an aha moment of something I'm going to be doing in the future maybe. And then I said, okay, well, let me get one or more of those. And then I wanted to see, and I couldn't remember where I put all this stuff here. Without further ado, I'm talking about art and animation cels and drawings, and this is not all of it, mind you. Back in the days of eBay, you could buy mystery lots of like 50 cels or 100 or whatever, and it was just fun times. You didn't know what you were getting. You would get damaged ones. There was a couple that had to be tossed because they were beyond saving, and paint was coming off of them and sort of thing. But I wanted to look at this stuff and see what I had. There's a couple of envelopes here. I don't remember what they're doing in here, but these are envelopes that I just saved because of the stamp combinations back when they canceled all the stamps. So that's just kind of fun there. I found those. I may not need to keep those envelopes, but they were from some celebrities I sent stuff to years ago. Oh, that's another cool photograph there. I need to put that one off to the side there. If I can get to it. I don't even know what I'm looking at. There's an old PayPal receipt there for something, so we'll get that one out of the way here. I found a sheet for Pogs, so that's kind of fun, but we're just getting out, you know, the stuff out of the way. I think that's a Pog sheet. When we start off, let's see if I can go to the front here. I found somebody's portfolio many years ago. They're not famous by any means, but they were doing their best. And I found somebody's anime art portfolio, so they were learning how to do anime. And there's some candy cane kid that got overstuffed, and there's that one there. And they were pretty talented. Did a pretty good job of this stuff here. And they used art paper there. There's the Strathmore art thing there. They used the back of that. And I'm not sure what this is. It's a mixed medium or something. Stuff that's been cut out and glued, and so I don't know if they arted this, but it was just pretty interesting right there, so that's kind of fun. None of it's really actually signed, but I knew that this was a good thing to have when I got it. There's something there. This might be, oh no, there's just it says Twitch. But yeah, somebody did a good job of this and dumped their, like, you know, portfolio of anime. There's another one that's like ripped pieces of paper that are painted over with somebody in a little robot there, or a little sidekick there. I think that's kind of fun. I don't know if you're able to see that there. And then you can see it was actually painted. There's blobs and stuff on the back of it. What is this kind of stuff worth? I don't know. You know, I might be able to sell this for $1 or $2. It looks like they tried to, I don't know. You can see some flaws and stuff on it as they were studying it. This one says, I can't read that. I'm kind of leaving the name private because I don't really know much about this artist here. I do have a name that I've saved somewhere. I think they were local here. Again, it could have been a student or anybody. They could have been, but there's another good one there. That's well done. I think that's all original art, maybe not printed. I don't know. I have to look. There's another one here, and I can't tell what this. It feels like it's been arted on. If that's a term there. Painted on or whatever, it's stuck in that. But you can see, yeah, there's marker and stuff in the back there, or some sort of color bleeding through. So how cool is that? You know, anybody would like to have that. And, you know, again, it doesn't have a ton of value because we don't know who this person is, but, you know, throw it in a frame or something like that. And then there's like somebody's little sketch there of some sort of anime character. That could be somebody, but I don't really know. And again, they didn't autograph any of that. And that's some of that. Now I got stuff that I don't even remember what it is. Animation cels were used for just about everything, and some of these came in lots. Some of these might be super ridiculously valuable. This is how an animation cel usually comes. You know, this one here has like some sort of a bear or whatever. I don't know, a bear or a dog that's growling. And then it's got the corresponding, you know, drawing, traced drawing or whatever it is on the back of it. That's how it starts, and then they use that. I think they use that to make, you know, a template for painting, which I think is really cool. There's a piece of something on there. But I think that's really cool. I don't know what this was from. I couldn't tell you whether it's a cartoon or a commercial or what that was for. And then this one's pretty neat here. A lot of these things are really neat that could be framed. Really, really neat. There's some sort of dinosaur there. I don't know if it's a 70s era dinosaur. Some of these are just impossible to find out what they came from. The history is lost. But once we add the history to some of these, then these can be worth hundreds of dollars. And then, again, gone are the days. But I read somewhere that they, for a small cartoon or whatever, they need like 100,000 cels or something like that. Or something like that. You can see very little through that one. They cannot even see that one. And then we just put a white paper behind it. And then look what we've got there. We've got, kind of a full-looking dinosaur there is another that might be going with that. I'm not sure. All kinds of, now, does it say anything here? It says combine this one with this one here. So there might be some other stuff that goes in the background. We don't know what was in the background. But try to keep these sort of in order because I don't know if they really are. There's another dinosaur one here. With the corresponding drawing in the background there. So again, what this was, I couldn't tell you. If you have any idea what that is, and I don't remember ever showing some of these. See, sometimes there's just like a drawing of a branch or something, so that's like a branch with like a piece of fruit or something on it, and that could just go flying, in the other direction. This could be for a commercial like Capri Sun or anything. That's what I was thinking it might have been. But then we've got some cool ones here. Some of them, think of the Simpsons episode Itchy and Scratchy cell that I got was just an arm. And it's like, your cell is worth nothing. It is worth $0. It's the worst cell ever. Sort of thing. There's another one here. And again, it could be that this dinosaur might have gone next to this branch or whatever. And, stepped on it or something like that. Or was getting ready to eat that piece of food there. Don't really know what that is. Now this one here. There's another branch here. You won't be able to see that, but you can kind of see a little red dot there. So there's that one there. And then we've got some really cool ones here. And I want to say, now this is a tiny one. Very, very tiny one of a circus guy, maybe a clown or some circus, kind of performer right there. And I'm almost 100% sure that's an R. Crumb cell from Shasta Cola commercial. That could be worth over $100 there. I don't know, but it came in some stuff, and I bought that separately, and I got the original drawing that goes with it. I'll show you that very quickly. And I think I found it on YouTube one time. It's like Shasta is the cola that has to, but I only found it, I think, in black and white. But how cool is that? A very small one there. It's the 1705, and that's where he's dancing with the soda cans there. And this might actually go with it. This one here might go with this one here. I'm not 100% sure, but there is some cans there. I don't know, again, that doesn't look like Shasta cans there, but I think that's really cool. Again, not knowing what these are. You can go to eBay and probably other sites as well too, and you can find lots of animation cells for $5 plus shipping. I've seen them as low as $1. Then I bought some ridiculous lot because they were practically giving these away. They were giving these away. I mean, they cost probably like a dime a cell, or not even $1 a cell. And this is a crowd of people from Dilbert cartoon. So how cool is that? That's a Dilbert cartoon cell. And somebody would probably find a way to make that look awesome. Put that in a frame. It's a whole crowd of people from Dilbert. I'll show you the back of it, what the back of these things look like here. Just gross blobs there. Don't frame it from that side. And again, not everybody can get the original painted, hand-painted background. And not everybody can get, even like a laser cell back, or with a laser, but a printed background. This one just happens to be like a deck of cards or a book or something right there. There's a little piece there. Again, these are not in super great order here, and that might go with this girl that's like, playing with cards here. See if I can get it to match up here. It's hard to do there, but there is like a back of somebody that's only painted up to a certain point, but it's hard to tell. There's some lines going on there that probably below the camera shot there, and there's a playing card there. I think that's kind of cool. We don't have a ton of time to show every one of these, but a lot of these are cell progressions or whatever, and some of them have holes in the paint because they've stuck over the years. You can see there's some holes in that one, but there's a bunch of different images of that person moving with the playing card there, which I think is really cool. And I got probably half a dozen or more of those, maybe even a whole dozen of those. Yeah, I got a whole stack of those, so I got the whole scene. So if you watch Dilbert, I've got almost the entire animated scene of that person doing the playing cards. Let's just get through all of these here, because I got probably... And, you know, I was kind of disappointed, but, you know, I did better than the scratchy arm. And again, these were just recent cast-offs when I got those. See, look at all those. Look at all those. I could put that whole scene together. And I've got even more. So that's where they're flipping through the backs of the cards, starting there. And that's really cool. But unfortunately, it's the back of somebody. But anybody with their, you know, with a thing, they could do something with this. Again, this is very, very fragile stuff, so I kind of had to handle it with care. I'm still going through the kid with the playing cards. Tons of them. Just tons of them. And then again, they've stuck over the years. But there's kind of a side view of the person or the kid or the lady or whatever. So there's that one. Then a lot of these things have stuck together over the years. So I've got this one that's kind of cool. I've never been able to figure this one out. I need to look up Tackle Bleach. Tackle laundry detergent or whatever it is, but it's got cleaners and bleach. There's a football player, probably from the 70s, I'm guessing. I'm guessing that would be from the 70s based on the football helmet there. Maybe the early 80s. And then again, that's the back of it there. That's in really good condition. And that is like a hero shot there, kind of. And I got two of them. So they're kind of taped together because it says cleaners and then bleach comes up too there. So the bleach word kind of stuck there, but cleaners and bleach, so that's a 2-cell setup there. Kind of fun there. Then let's go through a few other ones here. Again, this is really fun because I have totally forgotten about all of these here. Then I've got some of that, oh, that's a Boy Scout patch I got in there, cool. Then I got a bunch of these, and these are Fat Albert drawings here. So you can see there's a piece of Fat Albert that's missing, and then you got working on, I can't remember which episode, but there's Mudfoot. I think Mudfoot was the old man, and he had a heart attack or something, and they're giving him CPR, I think is what's happening, and that's Fat Albert was the one who was moving during the scene. That's why he's partially missing there. It says Fat Al right there. There's Rudy, and there's, so that is really cool. Unfortunately, you know, the whole Fat Albert thing got ruined by, you know, Mr. What's-His-Name. Anyway, let's just show you a few things here. And again, these are things that I totally forgot that I owned. This one might be from the opening scene or one of those, and I forget which character that was, but he's doing something with the harp there. That would be an amazing one to frame. I forgot I even had this. In fact, I'm not even sure, somewhere around here, and I don't think it's in this one here, I've got some Scooby-Doo cells. I think of Fred or Shaggy, I don't really remember. So those are cool, and I may have shown those in the video. This is Rudy dressed as a clown of some kind. So there's Rudy dressed as a clown. And again, these are Filmation, I believe. They weren't Ruby Spears, I think they were Filmation. And again, I've seen things like, now the ones you want to watch out for are Ghostbusters, maybe G.I. Joe, but then there's also Ewoks, Star Wars Ewoks, you can get those really cheap. Also, there's like Strawberry Shortcake. A lot of the 80s animation, they're just gobs and gobs and gobs of them. Now we got a drawing of Fat Albert. I used to be able to do that really well, but my throat is super dry right now. It's Fat Albert. So that is awesome. I even have a Fat Albert lunchbox or thermos somewhere. I don't really know where that is, but that is amazing. That's amazing. I forgot I had it. And I believe this is Mushmouth. I will do ba dabba do ba or zabba dabba zabba. I don't know, whatever. He used to say that. That is a really cool one. And then, of course, this is a cool one here, and I can't remember if this came as a lot here, but that's probably Halloween costumes there, so Fat Albert and his favorite, I think he was the Brown Hornet, and I thought Robin Hood or something like that one there. And then this is part of the gang. I have some that are framed. I always wanted one of them with the Filmation, the Lou Scheimer Presents stamp or whatever, and I never got that. Unfortunate there. And then we get, I guess, what's this, Rudy, with a guy with a kind of like the lampshade for the hat. And you can see it was super damaged over here for some reason, just super wrinkled there. And another scene from Fat Albert with, you know, a woman and a baby. A man and a woman had a little baby. No, that's from Schoolhouse Rock. So that's kind of a fun one. I got the corresponding drawing to that one. Another little dinosaur tree thing here. It's just about there. I'm going to see what else we have here. We got the drawing for the tackle, the cleaners, bleach, whatever it is, so that's neat. And just a bag that I've kept this in here. This, like, I think is an old vinyl record sleeve, I think is what that is. I'm not sure what that's doing in here. I gotta figure out if that goes to any of this stuff here. Then we got some other tackle ones here. Again, I had more Dilbert ones years ago, and it was just a scene of some just like reporter or something boring. So I donated those to St. Vincent de Paul because they were just nothing. And they're like, wow, how did you get these? And I said, just lucky, I guess. There's another one, another goodie shot there. That is really cool. And I don't know what it says there, but teeth and fangs or something like that. There's some receipts there. You don't need those. And let's just see what else we have here. So yeah, I got some reporters here. There's just a piece of cardboard that I need to probably set these things in here. And these are some, you know, copies, certificate of authenticities. You never really got the original there, but this is a certified, the accompanying piece of art is original production cell. So I guess I could make copies of that for each one of those, and that would be kind of cool there. Then we go to the last ones here. These are not all the cells I have, but that's just crazy what I could find here. And then these are, that's probably like the Barbara Walters type person there. It's hard to tell. And then the Dan Rather. That's very, very Dan Rather right there. Hugely looking like Dan Rather. So yeah, and I had more of this one here. I think I had more of these, but I think that might have been what I got rid of. I really cannot remember. It's been so insanely long. This cardboard thing probably is protecting all of that here. Let me know what I can do with this. I don't have room to frame very many of these, or even if I wanted to. I have some Kellogg's cereal ones with Tony the Tiger and then Tony Jr. And I have that framed somewhere, but I don't remember exactly where that is. I don't think it's in this room here. And then I have the Fat Albert one framed somewhere as well too. And the shot, I think, is just two of the guys, and I don't think they actually belonged together, but that's how they came. And some of these were auction that people were outbidding me on. You know, I could have even been $30 into one of them, you know, the better ones, and all kinds of stuff there. So I think that's really cool, just a really neat collection that you have not gotten to see, and I was just having fun as much as you probably will seeing this video. If you don't get to watch this video, you're missing out big time. But again, what is really cool is that, you know, people pay crazy amounts for a very expensive convention art. You know, $75, $150. And there's all kinds of sellers out there that sell convention art that's autographed. There's all kinds of heroes and you know, under the $20 benchmark, which is unheard of. Japanese animation cells are really neat things that I would like to get more of. And I got to figure out how to preserve these things and save these things for the future. None of these are crazy expensive cells, except for maybe that one that's the Shasta R. Crumb one, and I'm pretty sure that's what that is. If somebody could identify that one, and I think I have, but I don't have the video doing that, maybe I might try to see if I can show that in video form that I found that. What is that thing worth? Because he didn't really hand paint that and make him himself, but that's basically his art. I'm sure he probably didn't hand paint that himself, because sometimes they have a crew of people overseas, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, they would, you know, I can't remember if they were from Korea or somewhere that they were doing the hand painting, but overseas a lot of the Asians countries were doing animation cells by the bazillions. And it's just really neat to show how a cartoon is put together, even if you have something as unimportant as Scratchy's arm, Itchy or Scratchy's arm, it's still part of the cell making process, and it's really a fun, affordable area of collecting. If you're careful, you've got a true one-of-one. Basically, watch out for these people that are selling like the money shot. for $13 to $50, and then people are buying them daily thinking that they've got an actual cell, and they're just like, you know, printed on, you know, plastic type of stuff like this, and just don't buy those. If it looks like an animation cell but it's a money shot for under $50, be aware that it may not be one. So I hope you enjoyed that. I just do the best that I can to make videos here. Run out of content, but you know, I'm finding stuff that I haven't really dealt with in 10 years plus, and this is fun. And I've been having a great time looking for animation art on eBay, and thank you for watching. Alright, let's turn this off here.
Isn't it true that Darwin preserved a piece of doo-doo